What's going on, people? Welcome back to We Are Tottenham TV. Tottenham 3, Burnley 0 in Thomas Frank's first game, Tottenham's first game, Kudus' first game of the season and first competitive game in the Thomas Frank era. And it started off with 3 points and 3 goals and some unbelievable goals as well. Look, it wasn't from the off, the greatest performance. I thought Spurs came out the traps actually really well. First 10 minutes, got that goal. And then we kind of reverted into like a deep shape. We allowed Burnley a bit of encouragement. They couldn't get their goal. And then I think the second half told its own story and Spurs came out with a bit more aggression, got those goals and sealed off the game. But look, I think from a first kind of viewing of a competitive game for Thomas Frank, I was quite happy with it. I know it wasn't perfect and we were struggling to kind of build up from the back at times and progress the ball up the pitch, but you got to say there were some class performances in there.
Definitely. I think the first half wasn't great from Tottenham. I think we can all agree on that. I think it was a bit stodgy. We struggled to really build up the play. We got that early goal, which everyone was saying before the game would be vital, and it turned out to be quite important because if we didn't get that early goal and we were being asked all those questions of Burnley at 0-0 instead of 1-0 up, there would have been a different kind of anxiety, I think, within the stadium and watching the game. But obviously we got a really good opening goal, really lovely play from Kudus down the right-hand side, cut it back to Richy and a nice sweeping kind of finish into the corner, and you're thinking, all right, perfect start. This is going to be plain sailing, but I think Burnley really did come into it in the latter stages of that first half, and we were really struggling to assert ourselves in the game. We were spending a lot of time.
Majority of the first half, to be honest.
I think we were really. We're really struggling to basically progress the ball ahead of Romero, Van de Ven and Vicario. Where the only way we really did it was like Porro, long sweeping passes from the right-hand side, trying to get it into kind of Richarlison's feet, into Kudus to hold it up. But it was few and far between. We were really struggling to get any patterns of play going, really struggling to progress through the middle. Burnley were finding it too easy to keep us away from the penalty box. I think by the end of the half, Burnley had more touches in our box than we had in theirs. And I think it was a real struggle, to assert ourselves in the game, create chances, dominate. But I did think second half, it changed. And I think second half, we definitely got a lot more joy, especially after going 2-0 up. It was a weird one. I felt like maybe for the first 10 minutes of that second half, both teams were maybe throwing a bit of caution to the wind. We were starting to create a few more moments, and then so did they as well. They created a really good opportunity.
Came a bit more of an open game, didn't it?
Yeah, and I think if that Jane Anthony chance goes in, we're probably talking about a different game. Luckily for us, Jane Anthony's shot kind of bounces into the ground and right to Vicario's hands. And then from our next attack, Vicario dubs his Hartman down the right-hand side, crosses it again with his right foot, and an unbelievable scissor kick from Richarlison with his second of the game. And I think at 2-0, everyone felt a lot more comfortable. And I actually felt at 2-0, we were much the better side after that.
Look, I think what tells the story of the game are the stats here, where in the first half, they had 10 shots on goal. We had 5. And their XG was 0.33, ours was 0.46. But in the second half, we had a 1.86 XG to their 0.76, and we had 11 shots and they had 4. So I think that does tell quite the story of the game, where we weren't really good enough in the first half, and it was the ball progression. It wasn't having a creator there, and I think Bergvall was growing in influence as the first half wore off. And I think Cuti Romero was making a number of mistakes trying to play out the back, and his passing was uncharacteristically poor today. Brennan Johnson wasn't getting too involved on the left-hand side, and Mohamed Kudus, as much as he had the assist in the first 10 minutes, in the first half, you've got to say that his best work came probably in our own half with his unbelievable defensive play. But in the second half, I think that was completely different. And also in the first half, Archie Gray wasn't really making himself known in the middle of the park. But I think that completely changed in the second half. Romero, I don't remember too many passing casualties from him. Archie Gray put in a much better display. Brennan Johnson was a threat, got his goal, and a brilliant goal at that. Lovely touch, lovely finish to slip it under Dubravka. And I think all the players that were kind of not performing well in the first half kind of showed themselves a lot in the second.
Yeah, and I think we became a lot more dominant, and I think Burnley found it a lot harder to kind of keep us at bay. And look, we know we've got the superior quality players, and we know we just got to assert ourselves in the game. But I think to be honest, I don't think in the second half it was like we all of a sudden we were able to play through them, like through the middle and stuff. I just think we were finding more moments to get into the final third. I think Porro was getting a lot more involved down the right-hand side as well. And obviously, I think once we got that second goal, I think that made the whole difference. We got the second goal. I think everyone settled down. Burnley then really got a force the issue and really open up. And then all of a sudden, 2 very quickly became 3. And then the game was done. And then all of a sudden, Burnley didn't really have too much ambition to go forward. We were very settled in that with that third goal and made a few changes, got Solanke on. He was holding the ball up really impressively. He was getting a few shots on goal. We brought on Tel, Odebear, and I think we kind of saw out the game quite simply, and Burnley didn't seem to threaten. They kind of lost their any sort of momentum or encouragement that they were maybe getting at 1-0. So I think that second goal was really, really crucial, and it really helped Tottenham just a growing confidence that this is going to be our day, this is going to be our win. And as soon as that second goal went in, I think you saw the whole team just settle down, and everyone kind of started playing, with a lot more confidence. Even with Brennan, you saw Brennan wasn't having a great game. He got his goal, really well taken goal after Sarr wins the ball. Well, more great hold-up play from Richarlison. Sarr wins the ball in the middle of the park, plays a lovely through ball to Brennan, takes one touch and slides it past the keeper. And I think you even saw him grow in confidence as well after that goal went in, and we made it 3-0. So I think just a really accomplished performance.
Yeah, I think the 2 players that I was most impressed with, obviously Richarlison, which will come into a minute, but Pape Matar Sarr. Like, there were a few frustrating moments in the first half, but I think with Pape, he was involved in the first goal, winning the ball back and getting it to Kudus. He was involved in Brennan Johnson's goal as well, with a lovely ball through the lines for Brennan, which put Brennan in a lovely opportunity. But all the time, he's always looking to press. He's always looking to hassle Harry, win the ball back. He's carried on his form from pre-season into the season now, and that is music to all our ears, because Pape Matar Sarr in this form, and he took a step backwards last season, not going to lie. But I think if he can carry on this kind of form going into the season now, what a player we have in the middle of the park. And he's a player that a lot of people weren't saying, he could be the starting midfielder for us. But, you can't really take him out of the team with the way he's playing at this moment in time. So I'm very happy with Pape. And Richarlison, man, that was one of his best performances, if not his best performance in the Spurs shirt. Like, seriously, hold-up play, immaculate. His passing ability, immaculate. His finishing, immaculate. Everything about that performance warrants the highest amounts of praise. Like, we were watching the first goal, we're like, what the hell was that? That was an unbelievable finish on the half volley. And then that second finish, where the hell did that come from? What a goal. I mean, you look back at, was it last season or the season before where he got those 2 goals at Goodison Park? And you're thinking, it ain't getting better than that from Richarlison. Well, I think that second goal just topped it.
Yeah, phenomenal finish. It's something we have seen from him before, mainly from Brazil, but the guy has got that in his locker, an unbelievable scissor kick, and that finishing ability is something that we haven't seen enough of Richarlison, because we haven't seen him enough on the pitch. But I completely agree with what you're saying. It was a phenomenal display from him from start to finish. He never stopped running as well, on top of all the things you were saying. And the guy gets goals. Since he's been on the pitch for Tottenham, when we've got him on the pitch, he has scored consistently. I think the stat was, before the season started, when it comes to goals per 90, he's up there with some of the top strikers. Unfortunately, the actual minutes in that per 90 is quite low, so I can't read as much into it as some of the other top strikers, but he still does score when he's playing. And today, start of the season, had a phenomenal performance against PSG, and today against Burnley, got the nod ahead of Solanke, who everyone obviously assumed would be starting the season, and he's absolutely grabbed his opportunity with both hands. He knows it's a big season for him, World Cup season, has both his last 2 seasons have really been plagued by injury since he's come to Tottenham, so he knows this is his moment now if he's going to be a Tottenham player for the foreseeable future. And I think you can see that in his performances. Obviously, he had a decent end to last season as well. And this was a phenomenal kind of throwing down of the gauntlet of him to say, I can be a starting striker. You can trust me this season. You want me to hold the ball? I can do that. You want me to chase people down and press? I can do that. You want me to finish first-time finishes when when you get the ball to me in the box? No chances, back to goal. He did everything you asked of him. And so the big question at the moment is, can we sell him? Not should we sell him with the way he's playing at the moment. Going into this summer, everyone assumed well, the reports are we're open to offers and all these different things. I'm just reading a report saying from Romano saying Richarlison's rejected many offers for him this summer, many proposals. Even going as of not long ago, there was a lot of talk of him leaving. But the way he's playing, he's starting at the moment. He got a couple of goals today. Can you see him leaving before the end of the window at this point?
Nah, I can't. I can't really these last two performances. I think have been a big eye opener because before he's had goals, but I've never seen that level of hold up play from him than we've seen in the last couple of games. We know that Thomas Frank develops his forward players into much better players. It seems as like he's working his magic on Richarlison in the small amount of minutes and time that he's had with him. So no, I can't really see us selling him. The only thing that can disrupt him is the injuries. That's what it's going to come down to this season. If we can keep Richarlison fit, I think he can keep that number 9, that starting spot in the team. I really believe it. But it's all going to come down to if we can keep this guy fit. Because, like I've said on a number of occasions, I don't think it's been a quality issue with Richarlison, even though these two have been probably two up there in both of them top 5 ever performances for Tottenham Hotspur. But I don't think it's been a quality issue. We know he can get goals on regularity. He's shown that already under previous managers. It's just about the fitness issue for me.
Yeah, and that's always going to be a question mark until he proves it. But if we can keep him fit and keep him playing like this, everyone's going to fall in love with him again, and everyone's going to be delighted to have him. And I think it creates great competition between him and Solanke for that starting spot. And I think for me, if they're both fit and healthy, we've got two very good strikers there, in my opinion. I know they're not Haaland level or Isaac level, but there are two very good strikers who can both get goals for us and both offer different things. So I'm happy with them as our strikers if they're both fit, in my opinion.
Get Eze around him, get Savinho around him, both of them. They're going to bag goals this season.
It's the supply.
I want to give 2 shout-outs as well. One to Lucas Bergvall, who I thought played a really good game today, working in those tight areas, beating his man, driving up the pitch, and Mickey van de Ven. I thought Mickey van de Ven, it wasn't the greatest display from Cuti Romero today, and he did make a couple of mistakes, but every time he did, Mickey van de Ven was there to sweep up for him and get him out of trouble. So, and you even saw that little marauding run towards the end. And I said to you in the preview, are we going to see a Son-style goal from Mickey van de Ven? It wasn't quite a goal. He didn't get close to goal, but I thought for 1 second, is he doing the Puskas here?
You thought maybe, is he capable? He's definitely capable of it. Van de Ven, there was that one moment, wasn't there, in the first half where Romero gives a sloppy pass away. They then play a through ball to Foster, and you're thinking, oh, God, are they going to, score against run a play? But Van de Ven's there to bail us out, as he always is, that safety blanket, as we like to call him, and he was absolutely top-notch today. I thought, previously in the pre-season, out of the two, Romero's probably been the better of the two, but today I thought Van de Ven was imperious. Phenomenal performance from him. Bergvall, I thought, grew into the game as well. Started quite quiet, I felt, but as soon as he was getting on the ball, and there was just that one moment he just takes the ball, strides away from one of the Burnley players, and they just couldn't keep up with him. And I think at that moment he kind of realised they can't keep up with him if I can just get a little bit of space, and I think that let him grow in confidence, and he started to really strike the stuff at times as well. So that was really, really positive. Overall, I think if we're looking at it as Frank's first game as well, first game in the Premier League as Tottenham manager, I think he rotated. The fact that he rotated like he did, going into the game, the lineup were a lot of question marks about how suited this lineup was to the opposition, all these kind of things, and playing a very young midfield 3 in a Premier League game of Gray, Bergvall and Sarr, how would they cope, that kind of thing, lack of creativity. And also following the fact that first half didn't exactly blow anyone away, and it was quite difficult to watch. I think he found solutions in that second half. He found different answers to what Burnley were offering. He rotated really, really fantastically as well. Brought on, made subs when he needed to, used all his subs, which I really like. I think that's a criticism maybe of Ange. You can say I think he didn't use his subs often enough. When you got 5 subs, you got to make sure you're freshening it up, and I think he did that as well. And I think he made some in-game tweaks, which was really, really effective. And he got us a really comfortable win in the end, where at times it looked like this was going to be a difficult day. Ended up a really comfortable routine win. So I think it was an impressive first outing for Thomas Frank.
Yeah, absolutely. You can't complain with the 3-0 win, no matter who it's against. You know, you're looking at West Ham, they lost 3-0 to Sunderland today. So can't take anything as a given in the Premier League. So I am delighted with the first game. Bigger test yet to come. Obviously, we play Man City away next week, and I assume we'll probably go back to a back three and be very hard and disciplined and hard to play against. But it just shows, you know, Thomas Frank can move it up, change it up regarding who the opposition is. We're all wondering before this game, you know, it's going to take a very different performance to beat this Burnley side as opposed to what we've seen in pre-season, playing the likes of PSG, Bayern Munich, Arsenal and Newcastle. And yeah, it wasn't pretty at times, but we got the job done. We scored the goals. Could have had potentially a few more as well. So I'm very happy the way it's gone, the way it started under Thomas Frank. And long may it continue.
Oh,
and
well,
big up to Richarlison, by the way.
100%.
Big up to Richarlison. Prue.
And what's even sweeter, you had halfway through the game, you have Mohamed Kudus showboating with little flicks and tricks and whatever. And then over in Sunderland, they're losing 3-0. West Ham, the club that they didn't care about losing. They weren't bothered about it. But they're losing 3-0 up in Sunderland, and Kudus is doing showboating after while we're leading 3-0 against Burnley. So that definitely made the whole day sweeter. And I do, yeah, in terms of just quickly on Kudus, fantastic Premier League debut for him. Couple of assists on his right foot as well. Was a constant menace for us today. So really, really great debut from him. Really glad from what I saw, and he just showed what he's going to offer us, I think, long term today. And I just can't wait to get him around some of the players like Sevilla and Eze if they are to come, because I just think that's going to elevate him even more. So exciting.
Yeah, very exciting time to be a Spurs fan with the Thomas Frank era now up and running. They told us that he weren't going to win in his first 6 games, you know, for...
I was preparing myself for that. I was preparing myself for a long
for Bromby, for Brentford. No wins in the first 6, but with Spurs, he's come in and banged out a 3-0 in his first competitive game in charge.
Joint top of the league.
Yeah, Spurs are joint top of the league with Sunderland after the 3-0 wins, and I'm delighted. And yeah, roll on next weekend. Man City away. We'll see how that goes. But let us know your thoughts of the game in the comments section below. And that is our take on the 3-0 win against Burnley in the first game of the Premier League campaign.